Attention higher ed leaders. Are you ready to transform your marketing and enrollment strategy? Don't miss Insights EDU, February 12th through 14th in New Orleans, the premier conference for higher education marketing and enrollment management. Spots are filling fast. Register now at insightsedu.com. Welcome to the era of the modern learner.
Let's go!
Ellucian Live is taking place April 6th through 9th, 2025 in Orlando, Florida.
You just made the list!
Get ready for an unforgettable experience at Ellucian Live 2025. Join visionary leaders from institutions worldwide as we dive into groundbreaking ideas, cutting-edge solutions, and transformative best practices that will ignite your passion for innovation. This is your chance to connect, collaborate, and propel your institution into the future. Do not miss out.
Let's go!
Do you want to get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content, invites to special events, and more? Do you want to accelerate your professional development? Do you want to get all this while helping to sustain EdUp? Then go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and become a subscriber today.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. You know me. This is Joe, back with another episode, and we continue to interview amazing leaders across the space in multiple areas of higher education. You know, it's a really tough time for many schools in higher ed right now. I was recently in Canada at our Ellucian user conference giving a keynote, and international enrollment in Canada is down 27% due to their new regulations that they have coming out from their federal government. Many schools in a panic in Canada, much like the U.S. has been for the last several years, as we've seen institutions, many crumble, have others that are in financial, just financially in a difficult spot and trying to figure out how to dig out of it. Enrollment hasn't ticked up in the way that many hoped it would. Now, FAFSA, by the time this episode comes out, I think the full FAFSA will have been released. We're going to have to come back and talk about what that means for institutions, and more and as important for students and families as they look towards their higher education aspirations. Where to go, how to go, what to go to are all things that families still work through no matter what's going on around them. And that's because post-secondary education, whatever form or fashion somebody decides to consume it, is still a critical part of our economy, society, and as we enter the age of technology, the golden age, with artificial intelligence begins to dominate our lives in different ways, the human touch becomes very, very important. And I would like to make a disclaimer, but a claim here at the EdUp Experience. And the claim is that I never interview anyone that's not real. I interview real people, real guests. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, that's not completely true, because at one point when ChatGPT came out, I gave it a voice and I interviewed ChatGPT and turned it into an episode. So other than one episode, I interview real people, and I've got a real one with me today. Let's get her on right now, because she's got a company that is growing rapidly and you need to know about what's happening. Here she is. She is Sara Leoni. She's CEO at Ziplines Education. I like saying that. Ziplines Education. How are you, Sara?
Good. I'm doing well. How are you, Joe?
Good. From now on, for henceforth, I'll be saying Ziplines Education. Hope that's okay with you.
I love the energy around it.
Energy is something I apparently am not short on, according to many people around me, so I've got to watch it. But tell us about Ziplines Education. Level set for the audience. What do you do? How do you do it? Who do you serve?
Yeah, so Ziplines Education is a career accelerator that partners with 30 of the nation's top universities to really help them bridge the gap between education and industry, providing industry-aligned certificate courses, really helping upskill and reskill adult learners for this very tech-driven workforce that we all live in. So we do that today through a number of different components. I think the core value proposition that we help to deliver for universities is providing really relevant curriculum that's very practical, We partner with industry experts to develop all of our curriculum. We also integrate technology training. So we partner with the world's largest technology companies, folks like Salesforce or folks like Tableau, Atlassian, Jira, to make sure that as students are really learning about these or gaining these skill sets, that they're doing it in a way that's really contextualized against technologies they're going to see in the workplace.
I'm just looking at the site, at your site, ziplines.com, correct? And
That's correct.
I see the stat just boom, right? According to Salesforce Global Skill Index 2022, 76% of workers feel unprepared for a digital first future of work. I mean, that is a mind-blowing stat.
Yeah, I mean, the stat that goes with it is 95% of companies leverage these technology partners, right? And so the fact that, we as workers are expected to, on the job, figure out, and it's not just, by the way, about the technology, right? You've got to have, first of all, the business acumen, the strategy, the understanding of really how to implement these technologies in the workplace. But the fact of the matter is, learning all of this can be really intimidating for people that are, either headed back to work or even just trying to, stay afloat in their existing job as things are changing really rapidly.
Tell us a little bit about the model. All right. So maybe I'm an individual. I'm an individual. I'm an adult learner. And it's interesting that you bring up adult learning and what's happening in the space within higher ed is we're starting to redefine that term to the modern learner who's balancing all of these things. And so I'm a modern learner. I'm looking for more training. What do I do? Do I go through Ziplines? Do I go to the university? What kind of courses am I taking? And tell me how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be based on where you live, right? The regionality of things. So, you mentioned earlier that you're in St. Louis.
Yep.
University of Missouri St. Louis is one of our partners. We just went to market with them last month. You're likely to see, if you're in, say, our target audience for a program that we deliver, you're likely to see an ad that is co-branded between University of Missouri St. Louis and Ziplines, providing opportunities to upskill in these areas. And so we really focus on, what are the strong, so when I talked about the top 30 universities, right, we want to make sure that we are partnering with really approachable brands that create value for our learners through that understanding, through that trusted resource that is their local university. And so you're going to find our programs on the university websites. You can access the programs as well through the Ziplines website, but I would say that's a fraction of the folks that actually learn about the programs that we offer in partnership with these institutions.
Yeah. So by the way, it's a great model.
Amazing.
And it's so important. So you become, in effect, a way for the university to increase its overall pipeline, right? Maybe I'm out there, I'm looking for something, I'm not sure. You offer a digital marketing course, I think is one that I just saw, or certified digital marketer. I go, yeah. Oh, wow, I want to take a digital marketing course. I'm working in whatever. And now you've partnered with the university. You've helped build the curriculum. Is it co-created curriculum? Is that the way that it works, or do you?
It's curriculum all created by Ziplines.
Okay, so you create the curriculum. The university says this is great. We'd love to offer it through probably a revenue share of some kind. And now I'm in the university's brand, and you, Ziplines Education, have helped bring me there.
That's correct. And I want to be really clear. We're very transparent with the end consumer that this is a co-branded partnership, right? The value that we can really provide to these institutions is bringing the relevant content at scale, the practitioners who can help folks both learn the skills, but also ensure that they are persisting through the program. So it's the curriculum and it's all the wraparound support that comes along with it. And, for us, a big part of the institutional partner is obviously really the capability to develop that brand in those regional markets, but also for the end learner, for that adult professional that's going back into the workplace or going into an interview. We want them to have the confidence, right, that they've gained these skills, but also a recognizable brand behind the credential of the program that they've earned in that region with a trusted brand that the employer understands and recognizes and has a potential relationship with.
I like that.
So really, it's interesting because there's so much around credentialing. It's kind of like the Wild West, right? Credential engine. I interviewed the CEO it's like 1.1 million different credentials. And there's been a big question, like who certifies these? Who validates them? And the answer, I think, has always been what exists. Universities have an ability to validate them. But creating credentials, offering them through separate of our bureaucratic structures that exist sometimes, and to create a bunch of digital credentials and have them and certify them and market them and do all that work is really hard for universities. And I think that's where Ziplines comes in, right?
Yeah, completely. I think one of the challenges that universities have is just maintaining the pace of change, right? The curriculum that we create has to be updated sometimes on a weekly basis. Google changes their interface. ChatGPT changes their interface. Somebody adds in a new tool or feature, and we want to highlight those things. And so for us, we are constantly keeping the pulse of what's happening both in the workplace, but also with these tools so that we can keep them up to date for our learners. And granted, I mean, as these things change, we're only as good as the insights that come in. But we're able to provide that value to the institution where we're really connected into those experts and those technology platforms to maintain that relevance. And that's something that, it's just really hard for an institution to do. That's not traditionally how they've been built, right? When you think about just the decades of research that's happening. And, I think where we fit into the higher education landscape is we don't want to be somebody who is displacing, right? That's not what this is about. This is about how do we complement the great work that our institutional partners do in ways that are again, complementary to them. And so when we serve a very different audience than, say, their undergraduates or even folks that are taking graduate certificates, and we're really able to open up the aperture of the folks who, they can bring into the funnel to help learn and engage in their brand, completely new audiences that they've never had relationships with.
100%.
I love it. I love it because you so eloquently discussed the inertia and slowness that exists within higher education. You didn't say those words, I'm saying them. But higher ed can be slow, and curriculum is one of those areas, right? When you start to think, I've had this conversation here on the podcast many times. It's like something like artificial intelligence or prompt gen or digital marketing. I think digital marketing is just one of the best examples of curriculum that changes more than rapidly all the time. And so how do you have a digital marketing program at a university where you look at the curriculum every 2 years when it's changing every 2 minutes? And the answer is you can't. Your program will not be relevant at some point, probably pretty quick after you release it. The relevance of that problem goes away unless you're bringing in a continual stream of curriculum and learning design on it all the time. And so we talk about in higher ed building curriculum with like blocks where, this 9 credits is no good. We're going to take it out. We're going to put in this new 9 credits. But we are obstructed by the structures that exist. And so in order to have relevancy in a program, you have to have a partner that focuses on building in relevancy, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it brings a couple of recent conversations to mind that we've had with some of our
I bet. I would love to listen to those.
Some of our partners. Yeah. Where, look, we really value when faculty review and bless the curriculum, right? It's always an interesting conversation that we have at that level, because as you imagine, right, they've done their research, they've built their hours of curriculum, they've got their accredited programming. And, in one case, we talked to an institution that has an incredible business analytics graduate degree. And when we talked about the skills, and again, we focus on skills, right? We talked about the skills that students would be earning. One of the elements was, how do we help people build an understanding and hands-on approach to SQL, right? SQL is still critical in the world of analytics. And there was huge pushback from the institution on, well, why are you teaching these? Why are you teaching these hard skills? What they really need to understand is the larger theory or the strategy, which is true in some cases, but it also needs to be highly practical. And this similar conversation just happened with a very large, incredible institution that just has a fantastic reputation, who looked at our AI prompting course. And, I think what their expectation is that we're going to share this large view of what is AI and how does it exist and what are all the intricacies of the technology and the landscape. And the reality is, people just want to know how to use it, right? How can I get comfortable with these platforms and introduce them into my daily work so that I can create efficiency and effectiveness? And so there is sometimes this mismatch, right? Or just misunderstanding, I think, of how we are taking what is a very different need in the market, right? And applying a very different approach to a pedagogy and how we think about enabling folks to develop true skill sets that they can apply immediately back on the job.
This is lunacy.
I will tell you, not to name names, but there is a institution company that I interviewed, and they were talking about how they offered like a skill set kind of program like you do. And the fastest growing part of their market was 4-year bachelor degree students who are coming back after their bachelor's has been completed going, I can't do anything. I need some hard skills so I can go get this job, and I need to come back and get this, whatever. And so you go, what, and you hit on some things that I think are just important. We think, I think in universities and faculty, that we have some secret sauce to unlock the secret to, knowledge. And the fact of the matter is that yes, we still need to teach those human skills, but there have to be, in a world where technology begins to dominate, there have to be practicality of those skills. And that's always been that way. When you talk about when we would hire faculty, even when I used to hire faculty, it's like, I want a practitioner. I want somebody that's done this or is doing this work. And there's always this question of speed. How do I access new markets? How do I get curriculum? How do I create a certificate program that's relevant enough for the marketplace that I can change and access this? And the answer for a lot of institutions has been no. We just can't. Do you have conversations where some institutions are just not ready to think differently to do something like this?
Now listen up.
Insights EDU 2025 is almost here. Join us February 12th through 14th in New Orleans for the most anticipated higher education marketing and enrollment management event of the year.
I like that.
Imagine 3 action-packed days filled with game-changing insights, real-world case studies, and a hands-on workshop designed to transform your marketing strategy and boost your program enrollment. Learn from speakers at Google, Meta, Reddit, MIQ Digital, and top schools across the nation. Network with industry leaders, exchange ideas, and discover the tools to drive real results. This is your opportunity to stay ahead of the competition and meet the demands of today's modern learners. Don't wait, spots are filling fast. Mark your calendar, rally your team, and head to insightsedu.com to register now. The era of the modern learner is here, and you need to be part of it. We'll see you in New Orleans. Are you going to miss Ellucian Live this year?
I don't think so.
Exactly. So you might as well register right now at elive.ellucian.com. Ellucian Live 2025, April 6th through 9th in Orlando, Florida. Do not miss it.
Do you want to get invites to special events? Do you want to get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes episodes, and original content? Do you want to accelerate your professional development?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I will say it's rare, right? Because I think institutions are definitely starting to, or not even starting. I mean, they know that if they don't begin to build capabilities in this area, they're going to be left behind. And that this is the fastest growing. When you think about the fastest growing part of higher education, it truly is this space around alternative credentials or certificate courses, because that is the demand of this huge workforce, right? And so they're recognizing it. I think there's a question of, do we bring somebody in who can provide that level, that capability for us, right? That skill set, who from that works with other universities, that's trusted by other universities, or do we build it ourselves? And there will always be institutions that determine this is something that they can take on, and they've got the resources, and I'm like, but that's you've been in this world, right? It's the capacity that creates the biggest challenges in most cases for these universities. And I think one of the things that's really unique about the work that we do is, we're building this curriculum one time, and we're able to use it across many different universities.
You've
And
got
so
good scale.
right, the economies of scale for us are so different than for one institution that's able to offer a program maybe 3 times a year, when the reality is people want to take these programs all the time, right? They want to take them when they need the skills at a time frame that works for their schedules, for their families, for their job. And that's a capability that we can bring to the institution that they don't necessarily have. Again, it's not all of them, right? But I would say the vast majority have this huge gap that we are helping them to fill.
I love it. And, so if it were me, I'm going to do an if it were me. If it were me and I partnered with Ziplines and pick a program, let me go look. Project management. Is that a good one? Yeah, project management. It's a good one because it's got so many programs of relevance. There's so many areas where it can be relevant. I've got this partnership with you, and my student's going to go. You've helped recruit this student. Now they're going to take a 10-week certificate course, right? And it's going to be backed by my college brand. I'm going to look at that curriculum. I'm going to go, there's great relevance in this. I'm going to take it as a 3-credit course to satisfy some elective or some, right? Because that's a student I never had, hypothetically speaking, who now I can upsell a degree to, or a master's degree or a bachelor's degree to. But that only happens if I'm willing to look at that 10-week course and say, I'm going to give you something for it. What is that like? With partners you're working with?
Yeah, I would say that is not yet the norm, right? That is.
I knew you would say that. That's such a leading question, right?
Yeah, I wish that was different.
Are
but
you kidding me?
You know better than I do the challenges that it can take internally to work through a faculty senate, or to gain buy-in from a particular part of the institution. What we have said to our partners is, look, if this is something you want to provide, we are happy to work with whatever process you have in place to map our courses to your institution's needs. I think there's huge value to it. We don't tend to push it because, again, in most cases, that's not its most natural state. But for those institutions that are thinking about how to innovate, how to create these pathways for students that, they would never have even thought about this institution or this graduate program or this undergraduate degree program, building a bridge for this large universe of folks is a huge opportunity. And we have, I would say, a handful of institutions that have gone down that path. And look, I mean, the beauty that part of what we can provide is, as a partner, we're able to, after somebody completes a program, automate communications in a really timely manner to these individuals saying, hey, great, now that you finished this course, did you know it ladders up to this degree program, right? How can we pass you off to this admissions or, this contact at the university side so you can explore other opportunities? And we're happy to do that, right? We're happy to help create that value for institutions. But they have to also be willing to lean in and provide that level of credibility to our courses. And again, I think that will continue to evolve? Absolutely, right? And I think it will continue to evolve as students continue to demand that they're not just earning a degree, but that they're earning skills and that they're earning credentials that are recognized by employers outside of just, what that final diploma provides.
Epic.
It's I think about this a lot, as you can tell, and I think it's one of the most important conversations that we need to have and continually have is universities, many, and colleges, whatever, are in enrollment decline situations where there's very few out there that have a brand that stands the test of time with billion trillion dollar enrollments, whatever, endowments. A lot of schools are in trouble. A lot of them are, and they're cutting budgets. Even big flagships, 55 million, 100 million, 100 positions, and everybody's cutting. And tuition revenue is what drives it. And how many institutions want to access some college no credential students? It is the big secret that if you can access that market, as your residential population declines over time, your 18-year-old, your best market for viability is the some college no credential market. To access that market, you have to have marketing dollars, first of all, or you have to have a way to contact them. And you have to have something beyond a fixed time period, like 4 years, where you can offer something that gets them back into the education pipeline. And a 10-week certificate through Ziplines would do that in a partnership. And then you've got this student who is now part of your brand because you've backed it. You've backed Ziplines. Now they're a part of my brand. I can offer them a degree. I could offer them another certificate. They're now technically an alumni, if you want to look at it that way, and could be a donor. What I decide to do with that student who I would have never had in the first place if I didn't partner with Ziplines, because I wouldn't have partnered with Ziplines if I could easily get those students, which most institutions can't. What I decide to do with that student, and if I'm willing to recognize that work, is going to be the difference in that student helping generate more tuition dollars for me down the line. And I'm not talking everyone. I'm talking like 5%. 5 students on 100 that come to that course the multiples that you can get from 5 out of 100 is insane in tuition revenue. And that's the thing that I think we don't talk about is what are you going to do with this student once you get the ability to access them?
Yeah. No, it is such a huge opportunity for these institutions. I will tell you what our strategy is and how we think.
I would love to hear that.
At the end of the day, when I think about how do we want to open doors for these individuals that are coming through our courses? The reality is, it really matters what's most important to them, right? What can create the best pathway for that student, depending on what their end goals are. And so we spend a lot of time at Ziplines at the very early part of a student's journey, collecting data, right? Yeah. Understanding where are they at in their journey? Do they have a degree? Do they not have a degree? Are they looking to upskill? Are they looking to step into a completely new career? And if you think about painting that picture of their goals and then being able to integrate regional labor market data, right? That begins to take those goals and tie it to opportunities that exist in the market that then says, hey, great. So you took this digital marketing course. Did you know that if you develop SQL skills in this particular region, you can increase your salary by 23%?
Surprise.
Or did you know that 42% of the jobs in this market require search engine optimization skill sets? You should take an advanced course, right? Our goal is to be able to, this is the whole idea behind Ziplines, right? When you think about what do you do on a Ziplines journey? You step.
I just saw somebody like scaffolding across the zipline, right? The zipline journey.
Yeah, the idea is you start with a goal and we provide you with this really seamless process to get to the end state, and it doesn't stop there, right? And we know that lifelong learning is so incredibly essential to career development, to being able to not even just thrive, but to stay relevant, to stay competitive. And so how do we leverage data, information about you, the consumer, as well as your region, which, by the way, every microeconomy is a little bit different, right? The skill sets needed in areas are, in some cases, a little, I won't say massively different, but around the edges, they're absolutely, what's required is absolutely different by region. And we as an organization can help satisfy those needs. And I think so, whether it's gaining more skill sets or it's identifying those students that, yeah, they've taken on this course because they've got some work experience. They want to ladder that up into a job, but they do want their 4-year degree. Boy, if we can start to put them in a 4-year degree nurture program instead of just building on skills, that creates huge value, not just for the institution. That's important, but what's most critical is if we can take the demands of those learners, of that professional market, and solve for that, then, the sky's really the limit for both us as well as our institutional partners, and even thinking about those local employers in those regions. We think there's a lot of for us to be a potential to be able to unlock there.
Excellent.
I think you're right, and I love the model. I think I like the scalability of the model across institutions, and some would say, well, you know what, but this course is not unique to my university. It's another university has it. Well, the students in your area are certainly unique, and you'd like to keep them in your area. And I think that's what we struggle with sometimes in higher ed, is I give keynotes all the time about this, and I think about Marriott, because I stay at Marriott's a lot, and I will not stay anywhere else. Now, I'm sure there's other hotels that are just as nice as the Marriott, but they don't give me points. They don't give me this benefit of being a loyal member of the Marriott community. And we're missing that boat in higher ed. We're missing it on what comes after the degree, right? And I'm an example. I have 3 degrees from 3 different universities and never even thought about going back to one to get it. And there's so many people like me out there that have multiple degrees from multiple different universities. And we don't do it at the front end in the skill stacking and skill development area, and give them the benefit of moving on. And those are, when we start to really think about loyalty development, I think that's where higher ed really makes the comeback. And I think this is a really good way to start with building that loyalty for somebody who maybe already has some loyalty to another university because they've gone somewhere, maybe didn't complete, maybe they have completed, they want to go back. You have to offer them what they want, or else they simply go somewhere else, right?
Yeah, completely. I mean, they're making an investment, whether that's with their dollars or their time, with their resources. And the expectation is they're going to get a return on that investment.
Right.
And that's where the loyalty comes in, right? If you're able to create that ROI for the student, then you're in essence begin to build on that brand loyalty, to extend that brand loyalty. And again, that's a big part of our focus, is making sure that that we are helping those brands continue to build an exceptional relationship with those students in a way that delivers true, measurable, demonstrable value. And that's where, again, that, you can start to breed what can be a very long and interesting relationship.
I love it. You did say ROI. I told you this would be fun, but it is about work, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, short-term courses, long-term degrees, nobody goes, hey, nobody, there's somebody that just goes, I'm going to get a degree because I think that I want to have more. Typically, let's say generally, somebody goes, I'm doing this so I can go make a better living for my family. And so the dollar bills, the Benjamins, if you will, are an important part of this, right? You want to offer relevant courses that give real world skills, where a student who takes a Zipline course through whatever university or in partnership with the university can go get a job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or, it's really interesting, Joe. A lot of people will say, well, what's your placement rate? And we're not a boot camp, right? We
Right.
don't consider ourselves a boot camp. We are a short course program that helps people develop in-demand skills that we know are practical and applicable immediately. And what's interesting about how we measure outcomes, like, sure, do we look at whether or not folks are telling us they had a positive career impact? Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Did they
Are
move
we-
up? Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Are we looking at salary? Absolutely. For a huge percentage of our learners, it's also just about feeling confident, right?
Yeah.
It's about
Enhancement. Mhm.
exactly. It's about, and we continue to hear from people. I can't tell you how different my experience is at work because now I'm willing to speak up in a meeting, right? Now I'm willing to take a seat at the table because I have the confidence that I've built the relevant skill sets in order to do that. And so, there's this importance when we think about return on investment and again, really understanding how do we tie that back to what the learner's trying to accomplish. And it doesn't always just mean a new job, right?
Right.
To your point, it might be new responsibilities. It might be that they're looking to shift into something adjacent and pick up, like we know, project management skills. Our course is not necessarily in place to develop project managers. We know project management is one of the top 10 skills that employers look for, right? Especially in this remote world that we live in. And so how do we help people continue to build these really durable skills that can make them better in their jobs? And to me, when we can solve that, like that's when we are winning.
Tell them like it is.
What else do you want to say about Ziplines education that you think we should know? Open mic for you. Take it any way you want. Something that you're just burning and it's cooking in your noodle right now, as they say, your noodle's cooking inside your brain that you want to get off your chest, or tell us about maybe the future. What's next? You're trying to get to 100 partners, 300, 1,000, what's the goal? What are some of the goals you have?
Yeah, look, I mean, we are 100% focused on ensuring that every university partner we have has incredibly strong signs of satisfaction, right? We say we like to have 100% of our partners referenceable. It is fantastic when folks that we're having conversations with pick up the phone and call somebody at University of Oregon or University of Virginia and they rave about us. That's what we want to continue to perpetuate because that's what's going to create value again for everyone in our ecosystem. I think for us as an organization, the things that we think a lot about are how do we continue to enhance personalization for our learners, right? Again, depending on what they're trying to accomplish. A program for somebody who's looking to step into a new job is very different than somebody who is just looking to build skills so that they can create that relevance, right? Or take on more responsibilities in their existing job. It's not that the curriculum's necessarily different, it's the wraparound services, right? How do we make sure that we're providing, so for example, we just acquired a company called Clicked that does integrated work simulations so that for those people that are looking for a new job, they can get hands-on experience, right? They can continue their learning outside of just the existing curriculum and make sure that they're starting to put that learning into practice through truly hands-on simulations that give them a leg up. And so we're constantly thinking about how do we do that? How do we continue to extend our resources within the institution? So you talked about the fact that, sure, some institutions may not want to have the same curriculum that is offered at another institution. There's huge opportunities for us to integrate other components from that institution into our overall experience, right? This is the beauty of technology,
Right.
How we leverage technology and how we build those very localized strategies is a key part of how we think about enhancing our offerings, again, for the institutions, but more importantly, for the students. And, you'll always hear us talk about students first, because our feeling is if we can solve for that universe, right? If we can solve for those individuals, then the rest basically will solve for itself.
Well, this has been a great conversation. I have to tell you, I like the model a lot. I just, would urge universities and your partners and future partners to think about what you do with this student once they come to your university. Once they're in experiencing your brand, what comes next? Something has to come next. Because I think that brand loyalty is a way that institutions can get their enrollment up over time. And Ziplines seems like it creates an amazing way to access the Some-College-No-Credential market, which we know you cannot do if you don't have the right structure. You simply can't. And most universities are not designed to have the structure to access that market. So we love this work that you're doing, Sara. Let me outro you the appropriate way because the crowd wants to tell you their love. Ladies and gentlemen, she's Sara Leoni. She is CEO of Ziplines Education. Sara, it's been an honor to host. Did you have fun today talking about your work?
Yeah. I always have a great time talking about what I do. If you can't tell, I'm a wee bit passionate about it. But it's also great to speak with somebody who understands the importance of what we do and how we fit into the broader higher education ecosystem. That's not always the case.
Well, thank you. I will take that as a compliment, and I appreciate it. And boy, don't I have a lot of gray hairs due to my work in higher ed, doing some of the stuff that you're doing and having those very tough conversations with staff and faculty. So I understand. But that's, what? It's all about innovation. How do we take our 200, 300, 400-year-old model of education and innovate for today's digital-first student? That is a question you can wrestle with on a future episode of the EdUp Experience podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd.
You just made the list!
Mark your calendars for Insights EDU 2025, February 12th through 14th. Insights EDU 2025 is the can't-miss higher education marketing and enrollment management conference of the year. We're taking over New Orleans with speakers from Google, Meta, Reddit, MIQ Digital, and top schools across the country. Discover how AI is transforming marketing and enrollment management, how to assess online program opportunities, and meet the demands of today's modern learner. Don't wait. Spots are going quickly. Register now at insightsedu.com. Welcome to the era of the modern learner.
Let's go!
At Ellucian Live 2025, we're going to explore the magic of innovation. We want to imagine, believe, and achieve. It's happening April 6th through 9th, 2025 in Orlando, Florida, and we're going to explore technology, modernization, and
artificial intelligence.
Explore the latest technology solutions, discover industry insights, and make valuable connections as a global community. It's time to register for Ellucian Live 2025 at elive.ellucian.com.
Do you want to get invites to special events? Do you want to get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes episodes, and original content? Do you want to accelerate your professional development? Then go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and become a subscriber today.